Welcome, friends, to this week's episode of The Thinker. Today, we will be going in depth and study Thomas Hobbes. We will study his philosophy, his accomplishments. We'll learn a little bit about him. We're going to explore his life, explore in depth of what he taught, the people he touched, and some rebukes to what he said. Stay tuned. It's happening now. This episode of The Thinker, Thomas Hobbes. For the first segment of our show, we will be dealing with the biographical content of Thomas Hobbes' life. We'll be looking into his childhood. We will be looking into his upbringing. We will explore his academics. We will explore his life in general. For more on that subject, I will ask my first guest to come on, Berg. Well, Blake, thanks for coming on The Thinker here on today's special episode featuring some studies about Thomas Hobbes. And today, Blake is here to tell us some biographical information, and he's going to go in a little bit about what now? What are you going to tell us, Blake?
Well, thanks, Nick. I'm here to talk about Thomas Hobbes and his great journey and how it all started. Well, Thomas Hobbes started out his great journey on April 5th, 1588 in Westport, England. As a child, he grew up with his family, but as a younger or an older teenager, he left his family and grew up with his uncle, while he also tutored William Cavendish. He attended Oxford University and he graduated from there. And then in 1610, William Cavendish and himself toured European countries such as Germany, France, and Italy, where they also met Francis Bacon and Ben Jonson. There, they studied governments and how they worked and all that good stuff.
Wow, well, you said he went to Oxford University, Blake, and it'd be really interesting for me. I wonder what the mascot for Oxford University was in 16 whatever. I'd really like to find out.
And to conclude his journey, he died on December 4th, 1679. That's all I really got to open it up with, Nick.
Well, Blake, thanks for coming on the show. Nice to have a good friend come out, really knowledgeable in his field. And thanks for telling us the life of Thomas Hobbes. And that was Berg, everyone. Now we're moving on to our second segment of the show. We'll be having another guest come on, and he will be showing us a little bit into the philosophical side of Thomas Hobbes. We'll be looking at his philosophical views, his political views, how he viewed the world, and how he thinks the world should operate. Please give a warm welcome to our second guest of the day, Taylor Ferringer. Hey, there he is.
How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for coming out. It's always a pleasure to have Taylor here on the show. Today he is going to be talking a little bit about Thomas Hobbes' philosophical and political viewpoints in life. Okay, Taylor?
Well, you see, Nick, Thomas Hobbes believed in political philosophy. He believed that the human nature or one's body is like a sophisticated machine, all of whose functions and activities can be described and explained in purely mechanistic terms. For example, the body acts to relieve discomfort or to promote our own well-being.
Well, that's very interesting, Taylor. Now, if humans act as a machine, then how do multiple humans interact with one another?
Well, you see, Thomas Hobbes believed that the human society, they couldn't rely on each other's individual perspectives. They believed that they must join together and form some kind of commonwealth, I guess you could say.
Like a government,
right.
or a lord's, chamber, or, house of whatever.
In this case, Thomas Hobbes believed that monarchies were the best way to go. Also, he believed that a certain person in this commonwealth could become the decision maker, or the sovereign, I guess you could say. That's what he called it.
Yes.
He explains all this in his book, The Leviathan. You should check that out. Nick, everyone is bound to follow what the sovereign dictates. That's what Thomas Hobbes believed. He also believed that the sovereign is a specific person. a corporate person, or legislator. He believed that the sovereign is nothing more than the institutional embodiment of orderly government. So I guess you could say a specific person, which would be a dictator or a king. The corporate, which would be, I guess you could say, the lord of whoever, you know what I mean? All citizens, which would be a democracy like the U.S. So in conclusion, Nick, Thomas Hobbes believed that the Commonwealth worked best when it was in a monarchy. So, I mean, you can base your facts off that.
Wow. Well, thanks for coming out, Taylor.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure. Taylor Ferringer, everyone. We're now going to look into Thomas Hobbes' overall accomplishments and what he's given to philosophy. Thomas Hobbes in his lifetime was in many circles with great kings, wealthy landowners, and even members of parliament. And in these circles, he formed his ideas he used in his political philosophy. Hobbes was also a very prolific writer. He has many books and translations under his belt. John Locke, a precursor to Hobbes, lived less than a century before Hobbes was born. He had very opposing views to those of Hobbes. John Locke believed all men were created equal, therefore they should be treated equally politically. He believed there should be no higher powers. He didn't believe in a monarchy, or a king, or a queen, any of that. He believed in true democracy. Thomas Hobbes believed in the opposite of this. He favored a monarchy. He thinks that the commonwealth of people should be ruled by a singular ruler or a king, as in a monarchy. In conclusion, Thomas Hobbes was a great man. His political and philosophical theories have paved the way for pro-monarchy arguments even today. His novels will be cited. His works will continually be respected by those of today's political philosophy. This has been another week of The Thinker with Nick Dozier. Keep thinking at home, everyone, and we'll see you next week.